Hey guys, Christian here. In this video I want to, have a little bit of a talk about something that I've found coming up more and more with some of my Year 12 students, and it's got to do with how questions get answered. So, the problem that I tend to find, and it's really quite frustrating, is that for the last couple of years, you guys have been told consistently, almost religiously, you have to show you're working out in order to get the marks. And so you've been drilled with this idea that you've got to painstakingly set out every single step that you take when you're answering a problem. And up until this point, it's been the right idea. Unfortunately, if you're studying methods, there's kind of a little bit of a mindset shift that happens, and all of a sudden the focus isn't so much on giving every little detail in certain questions. And then there are other questions where that's fully expected. So I wanted to break down really quickly this idea that you have to let go a little bit the desire to want to write down every single step in every single question. And instead what you've got to do is start focusing more on the style of question that you're answering, and that will help you to decide what sort of methodology you should be taking in terms of actually getting the marks out of the problem. So in methods, especially if we look at sort of the exams at the end of the year, there are three types of practice questions, or three types of exam questions. There's the short answer questions, the multiple choice questions, and the extended answer questions. Now, most people look at these and just go, right, there's three different types of questions. But what a lot of you guys may not actually realise is these different styles of questions are designed really specifically to test different aspects of what you've been learning. Not only just in the concept of different topics or different chapters, but in the fundamental thinking style that students will have to adapt in order to get through methods. So these styles of questions actually force you to think creatively and in different ways, and they test different areas of understanding. So I'll break it down really quickly what actually happens. First off is the short answer questions. So they're the most common style of maths questions. On the exam, you're expected to be able to do them without the calculator. Now, short answer questions are designed like your traditional maths questions you've been doing for the last 4, 5, 6 years. They are designed to test your ability to actually perform mathematical operations. So at lower levels, this is things like, can you add, can you subtract, can you expand a set of brackets in algebra? And as you move up into the Year 12 level, it's still testing the same sort of thing. It's just that now it's a case of, can you solve a circular functions equation? Can you solve an exponential equation? Can you differentiate a particular expression? Can you use this particular probability formula? So they're very structured, and they're focused entirely on, can you perform the operation? These types of questions, it is actually essential that you show every step of your working out, because algebraically and physically we need to be able to see what steps you have been taking to answer these questions. It's all about testing whether you understand the process itself, which is why it's really important to show that you're working out painstakingly well in short answer questions. Now, the issue that most people suffer is when you move into the other styles of questions. The second type is multiple choice. Now, multiple choice is usually, you get 4 or 5 possible answers, and you're almost always allowed a calculator in maths methods. Okay, any exam or any SAC where you're doing multiple choice questions, theoretically you should be given access to a calculator. Now, multiple choice questions test a very specific area as well. They're actually more focused on the knowledge type situations. So less about the process themselves and more about, do you know what this means? Do you know what domain and range is? What an inverse function is? Which probability technique to use? Those sorts of knowledge style questions. Questions that don't necessarily need a lot of working out. They might, but not necessarily. They're where your multiple choice questions tend to find. And in those questions, the goal is honestly to get the answer as quickly and efficiently as possible. So no matter how many pages worth of notes you write out, none of them will ever get any marks for multiple choice questions. You either get it right or you're wrong. It is very clear cut and there is no discussion about it. There's no consequential marks in multiple choice. There's nothing that relates any question to any other question. And there is nothing that says anything apart from the answer that you give is going to provide any relevance whatsoever. So multiple choice questions, no working out should be written, or if there is working out written, it should be only for your own personal sake, not for the sake of actually getting marks on a test. Your goal is to get the answer as quickly and efficiently as possible, and a large part of that is relying on your calculator to do things like number processing, or solving an equation, or finding a graph. Anything like that, you rely on your calculator heavily in multiple choice questions. Now, the final type of question is the one that gets people most of all. It's the extended answer responses. Those are the ones that you see in the back end of exam 2. Typically speaking, in an exam setting, you'd be allowed full calculator and full access to notes. Now, extended answer, unlike short answer, is reliant less on your ability to perform mathematical processes and more on your ability to understand the context of a question and to be able to choose the correct operation to use. So the correct process, you should know, should I differentiate and what will I find when I differentiate? Should I solve this equation? Should I set up this equation? All of those sorts of things, those really conceptual ideas, extended answer questions are made to test that response. Now, the issue that most students tend to find is they tend to overcommit to those questions and give way more information than they actually need to. What most people forget about extended answer is because we're more focused on the actual, choosing the correct process and applying the correct procedure rather than the mathematical precision itself, we're not as interested in seeing all of your working out. We're interested in seeing your thought process instead. So in a short answer question, if something asks you to differentiate a problem, we would expect to see the full list of steps if you, say, used the product rule. Alright, so we'd expect to see 3 to 4 lines of algebra clearly outlining the fact that you've used the product rule and used it effectively. On the other hand, if it's an extended answer question and we ask for the derivative, we just want the derivative. That's all there is to it. It's plain and simple. We expect you to be able to use your calculator to take advantage of those types of things. The whole point of extended answer questions is to test your ability to choose which procedure to apply and to apply them effectively in different contexts, in problem-solving contexts, application problems, worded scenarios, those sorts of things. We don't actually care so much about the nitty-gritty type of stuff in extended answer problems. So where students lose a lot of time is they try and answer an extended answer problem like a short answer problem. And they're fundamentally testing different things. Short answer problems are made to test whether or not you can perform mathematical processes. Extended answer problems are focused entirely on problem solving. In extended answer problems, we only care about the fact that you chose the right process and applied it effectively. We don't really need to know the nitty-gritty of the how. And it's really important that you wrap your head around that, because once you understand that, you start to realize that, hey, methods isn't always about showing every piece of work that you do. Sometimes instead it's about showing the context that you do. Now, it's important not to lose balance on this, go one side or the other side too far. You can't go from showing all of your work to showing none of your work, because then you're going to lose marks. You're either losing time for showing too much work, or you're losing marks for not showing enough. And you need to find that balance. And the key to that balance is in the style of question you are being asked. So start having a look at different questions and having a think about what they're actually testing. Okay, a short answer question, it will be very mathematical. It will be asking you to perform a very specific process, and you'll be expected to show exactly how you did that. An extended answer problem is more likely to be a scenario, application, or worded problem where you're working yourself through a series of steps and you have to be the one to decide which processes best match each step of the question. Show that you are applying them, but don't necessarily show the nitty-gritty how. Okay, rely on the calculator wherever possible to speed the process along, and that way you can still maximize your marks without losing all of that precious and very valuable time. So, methods in general tends to throw a spanner in the works because you've learnt your entire life that you need to show every step of working out, and now I'm here to tell you that it's not always the case. Start having a think about what type of question you're doing, because that will give you a clue as to the best way to answer them effectively. Anyway guys, I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'd love to answer them and have a bit of a chat about everything that I've talked about. And if you'd like to see more videos, check out the Facebook page, or post in the comments and let me know what you might like to see next. If you'd like some help with something or have any particular questions, I would love to get on board and start answering those for you. Anyway guys, thanks very much for watching. My name's Christian, and I will catch up with you on the next video. Bye for now.